Welcome back, Balance Beamers. I'm your host, Naketa Thigpen, and as always, I bring you nothing but beyond my most excellent best. I have for you today an exciting, amazing, another yet incredible entrepreneurial woman. Her name is Kristin Ball Motley, better known as Dr. Motley, owner of Healthcare Solutions of Delaware Valley, to talk to you about what it means to be a mogul in the making and planning amazing, incredible things as you're impacting by serving. Kristin, welcome to the Beam.
Thanks, Naketa. I'm very excited to have arrived. I felt that when I got the invitation, I said, oh, I have arrived. I've been on the back beam for years. When you first started doing it, I was like, one day I'm going to be interviewed on this show. And when I got the invitation, I was like, God, you will do it every time. So I'm very honored to have been chosen to join you today. Thank you for the opportunity.
You are so awesome, funny, and so right, because it is your time. This is your time. You are unleashed in 2015. So this is exciting, and I am excited and humbled that you can make time in the midst of all this planning and all these great things you have going on for you to even be able to carve out some time to come on the beam and share with everyone. So thank you for being a part of the Balance Beam.
I've been waiting for this moment my whole life.
I love you. I love you so much. So tell everyone who doesn't know anything about Dr. Motley, Kristin Ball Motley, the woman, the wife, the entrepreneur, the business owner. Tell everyone a little bit about you so they can understand what it takes to be who you are, and if they're aspiring as an entrepreneur or a professional, how they can take some strategy to get to being a really well-balanced, still pursuing amazing, incredible woman.
Oh, great. I'll be glad to. So I am a pharmacist. I went to school at Florida A&M University in Tallahassee, and I wanted to work in the pharmacy. I wanted to go to work in a community setting where I would have an opportunity to interact with patients and to teach them about taking their medications, things to do and things not to do. So after pharmacy school, I pursued a residency to give me advanced training in working in a community pharmacy, where I would provide more hands-on patient care skills as opposed to simply dispensing medication. So I did that for a year at the University of Georgia. Then I taught at Hampton University School of Pharmacy for 2 years in Hampton, Virginia. Then I was reacquainted with who's now my husband, and I moved back home, which is the Philadelphia area of Pennsylvania, but we actually moved to Delaware, but I'm from Chester, Pennsylvania. So we moved back home, got married, started a family. I was working, enjoying my job, and then I got a call that my grandmother's blood pressure was through the roof and her cholesterol was sky high. So, and I was told I needed to go over there and do something about it because I was a pharmacist. So I went over there and I tried to do something about it. But first I had to better understand why her numbers were so high and she wasn't taking her medication. So she explained that she's not taking it because she feels fine and she doesn't see a reason to take it, and she was having trouble paying for her medications. So I talked to her about why it was important for her to take her medications even though she felt fine. So high blood pressure, high cholesterol, conditions like heart disease and diabetes are often considered silent killers. You don't have any symptoms and you don't know that you're sick until oftentimes it's too late and you've had a stroke or a heart attack and you're in rehab, or you may even die. And so explaining that to her, how she could feel completely healthy, but her numbers are telling us that she is not healthy. She had a better understanding of her health conditions and decided that it was the right thing to start taking her medication. And then I got in contact with her doctor, who changed some expensive medications to some lower cost alternatives. through my recommendations, and she was able to afford her medications again. And it really helped her to stay on a path of good health. And so I knew that if my own grandmother had those kinds of problems, that there had to be tons of other people who had the same issues as well. So because of that, and my friend's mom was in the hospital, sent home from the hospital with a stack of prescriptions that she couldn't afford to get. She had open heart surgery, and she didn't take her medications for almost a month after open heart surgery because she couldn't afford it. And so because of those two things really prompted me to do more to help people, especially when it came to taking their medications. And I started Healthcare Solutions then. I was still working full time. I started on a part-time basis, and I worked as much as I could to help people who couldn't afford to pay for their medications, as well as providing in-home consultations. So that's how we got started about 5 years ago in 2010.
That is incredible. Talking about your mess being your message. You
Oh, yeah.
Here you are, a pharmacist, a doctor, making, I'm sure, well over six figures, and didn't even understand in the background of the nonsense that your grandmother, your own grandmother, who I know is really instrumental in your life, was dealing with some of those private things that we don't talk about, right? We don't talk about anything that has to do with money. We don't talk about, I'm taking 25 pills or whatever it is. I'm being a little exaggerative for some not, because they really are. And we don't talk about how the fact that we feel like we don't need those things is kind of like, I don't want to bother the world. I don't want to bother my granddaughter. I don't want to bother those that might be able to help me with those things. And obviously including your girlfriend's mom as well. Those things do add up, and you are reaching out in big ways. So I know from personally being in your circle that you have a huge conference coming up, because you've gone from helping corporations understand how they can save money by helping their employees save on the cost of their medication and manage all those costs. You do that, but you're also doing it at a deeper level with helping their employees directly with their health and wellness. Tell me about this conference that's coming up for you in the fall.
Oh, great. So we're planning a huge health conference October 10th. Save the date. It's a full day conference. And we're really, the purpose of the conference is to really get people to make small changes in their life now. So just small things. You just have to do something now. So that you can see the difference and you can see the payoffs in 10, 20, or 30 years from now when it's time to retire. I used to work in long-term care, and I was responsible for traveling to different nursing homes in the area where I had to do chart reviews and check on the medications that all the residents were on, and I was shocked at the number of people who would spend the rest of their lives in nursing homes, who were in their 50s and their 60s and their 70s, just because they had had a heart attack previously or a stroke previously. And those things, for most of us, are completely preventable. That means we could do something about it. We can change the course that we're on. And so the conference is to really inspire people, empower people, give them the knowledge, the tools, everything that they need to make small changes now so that it'll pay off and they can actually enjoy their retirement down the road. So we're doing a lot of hands-on workshops. We're bringing in some great speakers. We have an awesome keynote speaker, hands-on cooking demonstrations and fitness demonstrations. It's going to be an awesome event. So we're really looking forward to that.
Well, I am too, because I will be there with bells on, probably at the juice bar mostly. And if I can convince you to get a trampoline in there just for me, I don't need it for anybody else. Just let me, rebound on it.
We're going to have some trampolines outside. And I'm going to try to figure out a way to get people to know what the purpose of the trampolines are. So that it's not just, 2 or 3 trampolines just here. Like, I want you to get on them and bounce them and, exercise and shake off some stress. And so I'm excited about that too. We will have some trampolines at the conference. I'm not expecting any backflips or somersaults, and there won't be like a line or anything to hang off of. I just want you to bounce. Just bounce.
Well, we can bounce because I can teach him how to do the health bounce, which doesn't even take that much energy, and it's been incredible for my own health. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Motley has helped me tremendously as I fight my own rare disease, which is also an autoimmune disease, connective tissue disorder, and resetting and realigning your lymphatic system is really important. And she's walked me through some of the things that I needed to do with my gluten-free diet and just some amazing other things that she's helped with, and also helped me save money on medication when I was on it, which I no longer am. Awesomeness, but she's definitely helped me with that. So yes, I'll be your champion, standing outside the trampolines like health bounce, let's go, health bounce.
Yes, health bounce.
It's been amazing and incredible. So okay, you are doing this crazy 400 500 person conference in the middle of owning your career, in the middle, maintaining your license as a pharmacist, still making sure you stay on top of your industry trade, because that's really important for who you are as a professional woman, but also it integrates completely directly into the alignment of your purpose of what you're doing through your company. But then you're also running the company, and you have, the front of the office of the company, the design, the branding, all that. You have the behind the scenes of the company, managing your staff, your teams, your internships, all of those things. Then you're a wife. And I know you're heavily involved in your church community, as well as an activist in the community at large, as well as a mom to a little person. How are you dealing with all of the there's a lot of blessings that come to managing this and enjoying the process of it, but there's a lot of daily struggle that comes with it too. And I know a lot of balance beamers, most are women, some are men who are tuned in and listening to it. What are some of the things that have worked for you when you were just trying to juggle all that life had to give you, and maybe some of the things that weren't working for you?
That's a really good question. So it's very hard. It's not easy, and I'm still trying to get it all figured out. But I used to watch Susie Orman a lot. Like when I was in college, when I got out of college, before I started my business and I had money, I used to watch Susie Orman a lot. And she, what in her show was saying, people first, then money, then things. And that just really resonated with me. And at the time, I was working, and so people first wasn't that hard for me, because all I had to do was go to work for 8 hours, come home, and I was good. Like I did some things at church, but it wasn't, 10 hours a week or anything like that. But now that I'm a business owner, and I haven't watched Susie Orman in probably like 4 or 5 years, it stuck with me, and I kind of use that as a rule. So people first, then money, then things, and I kind of use that to determine if I'm going to do something, when I'm going to do it. So if my family needs me, if my husband is saying you aren't home enough, I need you to be home more, and I'm considering if I'm going to go to a networking event or home, I go people first, then money, then things, and I go home. But it's important for him to let me know how he feels, because if he doesn't let me know how he feels, then I don't know that he cares that much, that I'm not home as much. And he's been very, very supportive. And I am eternally grateful to him for that. But for a while, he didn't tell me how he was feeling. He would just say, if you have to go, then go, and I thought that he was supporting me, but the whole time he was building up resentment toward me, and that had a big effect on our marriage, and it was a mess, and things got crazy for a little while, but it was because he wasn't telling me how he was feeling. So communication is so important. You hear that like in relationships and marriage, communication is big, and I saw how big it was, because he never said anything, so I was just working until I started to notice that, that things were changing, and then he told me how he had been feeling for years, and I was like, I didn't know that. And so when I knew that, then it helped me to be more aware in people first. So when he is, if he is hinting to me or just telling me directly that he wants me home more, then I'm people first and I'm home more. So that helps me a lot. People first, then money, then things, helps me keep things in perspective. And a lot of things that my awesome success coach has taught me. I'm not going to name any names, but she's about. Especially when it came to working from home. So I used to work from home a lot. Like I had the office space, but it was convenient to just pull out my computer and just kind of knock out some tasks or some emails from home. And I didn't understand why my husband would still be talking to me when I'm home working, like in my little square kind of office desk. And it was kind of, the office is not in a room, it's a part of our like living room area, so the couch is there, the TV is there, and it's okay to have the TV and stuff on, but I'm like, why are you talking to me? Like, I'm at my desk, like, you see me focus on my computer, why are you talking to me right now? I don't want to talk about this TV show. You can watch it, but don't engage me in it. I'm working. And then my daughter would come up and want to play and like sit on my lap. And so I didn't understand how to get work done from home. And then my coach helped me realize that I was not going to get work done from home and to stop working from home. And so when I did that about 3 or so years ago, it's just been amazing. Like when I come in the house, I'm not even turning on the computer. I don't turn on the computer till the next day. I'm home. Like if I'm in the house, my family knows that I'm present for them. And that doesn't mean I won't sneak out and sit in the car and take a conference call in the car, but I'm not going to do it inside the house because when I'm home, they really think that I'm there. Or they're expecting me to be present there. And so if I do need to hop in the car, drive around the corner for like an hour, I will do that if I have to, because I just have to be aware that if I'm in that house, I'm there for my family. And it's so funny because now there are some times where there's like an urgent thing that has to be handled and I have to pull out my computer. I'll do it, but I am aware that I'm keeping that to a minimum. I don't want my daughter to see me working on the computer too much, because if I'm on the computer, then I can't pay her attention, and all she ever wants is my attention. So she said the other day, "Are you going to pull out your computer?" And she's 3, and I was like, "Huh?" And she said, "Mommy, are you going to pull your computer out?" And I said, "Do you want me to?" And she said, "No." And I was like, wow, that was like very interesting. So she doesn't see me on it that much, but when I'm on it, she knows that I'm serious. So she was like, "Look, I don't want you pulling out your computer because I know when you get on it, you're not going to pay me any attention." So I'm grateful that I no longer do any of my primary work from home, but I keep it very limited. And so that helps my family as well. Because my husband hates when I walk in the house on the phone. And so he hates when I do that. So I'll sit in the car, pull up, sit in the car for 20, 30 minutes until the call is done, and then I walk in the house. And that's for business calls or personal calls too.
No.
So it's a challenge, and I'm still working on it.
No, that makes sense on every level. It's boundaries, right? We create boundaries for ourselves, not only to keep people out, but to keep ourselves in line and in tow if we've done a good job of creating those boundaries. But your life changed in the last 3.5, 4 years, not including the last 5 with the birth of the business, but the birth of your daughter. So now your time is split in so many more ways than it was 3.5 plus years ago before you conceived your next level of self, which is your daughter. And that's an important part of your relationship with her. But also now that means more time away from your husband and more time away from your business. So just kind of creating those boundaries that work for you. Like your balance is clearly different than my balance with an 18 and a 14-year-old. Is really different. And I have, you can see it behind me, my office is, because we lived in a loft, it is a part of my living room. And my husband and I work together, so we often have to do that same thing. Like, he knows that if I'm sitting at the desk, which is rare because I'm typically running around the other layers of the house somewhere doing something, but if I'm at the desk and I'm working, it's really rare for him to engage with me. But we're at a different level in our relationship because we've been working together so long, and our children are older, so he doesn't have that pull on him with that, and neither do I at that same level. You know, teenagers is a whole another beast, but it's a completely different level, and you have to grow and be flexible with that. So it was good to hear that what didn't work for you before, you changed it up with some coaching from other people, whoever this awesome, amazing, incredible success coach is. I want to meet her. But you know, you changed it up and you were able to be flexible, and you're going to have to be flexible at a different level when your daughter is entering, you know, full kindergarten with homework, and, you know, elementary school with another level of homework and activities and sports and dance and whatever else comes her way that you want her to do or she wants to try up. And you'll constantly change it and it'll work for you. But it's good to know that you put your family first. And that's how I divided up. I used to follow Susie Orman too, so I was laughing when you mentioned her. And she's a great person. She's a great financial, I think she's called the money woman or the money coach or something like that. And she's really awesome in all her ways. And some of what she says is really biblical, even whether she will admit it or not. But it's God, family, everything else. And that's what you've done, is if you align yourself to understand that your priority under God is to your family. And your husband and your daughter are going to be there even if the business isn't. Even if for some reason you decide, well, you know, I love healthcare solutions, I love what I did, but as an entrepreneur, I'm moving on to some other type of solution. You know, whatever it is that you do in life going forward, prayerfully, with health and the will of God on top of everything, your husband and your daughter will still be there regardless of what happens forward. So you did have to align your priorities, and that's an important lesson for not only you, but for all of us listening who struggle with that. That's a daily reminder to me when I'm in beast mode, I'm in mogul mode, and I'm doing 5,000 things and I'm traveling all over the world. I need to make sure I take some time out to help my husband understand that he's still my priority, that my kids are still my priority, even though my activity is calling my attention. So I think that that's amazing that you did that.
No, thank you. It's people first and money then thing. That's the only thing that I can think of.
That's awesome. So what
in NT, I was like set for balance in my life.
I love you, Kristin. I really do. So what about, you know, the money mindset that ties to that? Because you are a family woman and you are very fiscally responsible, and you pay attention to the things that line up for your time and the cost of your time and the money that has to be seeded back in so you can maintain some semblance of balance as you move forward. Have you found that your thoughts around money matter in terms of how you dispense your time, or do you think that's not really a relevant aspect of how you balance, or why you choose certain things as a part of your balance?
Oh, it definitely matters. I would say 5 years ago it didn't, but as I grew as an entrepreneur, I've just learned a lot, and things have changed a lot. So I would say when I first started the company, I would be at every health fair, I would be at every event, every weekend, in the evenings, through the day. I would have my table set up and, you know, trying to put out information to people in communities and churches and libraries, and just doing things, paying for tables, and not getting paid to do any of that. And then for a while, not even taking the time to look and see where my sources of revenue were coming from. But then when I finally stopped to look and see, I realized that they weren't coming from all these health fairs and community speaking and all these events, that I was putting my time and my resources paying people to attend these events. I wasn't getting the return at all. And so when I determined that, I made a strategic decision to cut back significantly on those type of events, to focus my time into those areas that would be revenue generating for me. The same is true with meetings. So I would try to meet with whoever would listen. Like I was having a meeting about what I do. I would have a nice packet of information to share, and I was trying to meet up with people wherever it was convenient for them. And then I had to stop with the help of my success coach, helping me to see, where my time was best spent. And it wasn't best spent trying to meet up with everybody in person for coffee or lunch or whatever, having a meeting with people who could not directly help my business. And so I had to cut back on all those meetings and come up with a formula to kind of screen people by phone call first, and then determine if a meeting was warranted. So taking a look at who I was meeting with, our potential relationship, and if they were going to be a potential client or a good referral partner. And then everyone else, I kind of put them in, as I can. The other thing is I was involved in a lot of coalitions and community groups and health-oriented things, and going to all these different meetings where a lot of the people in the room, and it was great for networking, but I realized that a lot of people in those rooms were paid by their companies to be there. So they were salary employees or hourly employees, and they were in the room, and every minute they was in the room, because they were getting paid. And I was in the room, and me sitting there sharing all my genius, brilliant ideas, I wasn't necessarily getting paid, and it was taken away from me creating and doing more activities that would be directly beneficial to my company. So I had to cut back on those things. So it's just been a learning experience. So I do look at time because I value my time, and I have to put a dollar amount on it. I have to start turning away health fairs and free speaking things, cutting back on it, and just kind of being more strategic where I'm not doing everything that comes at me. I'll do things in the more strategic way. So of course, I'm always going to give back to the community, because my heart is with the community, but I'm just not going to do every single thing.
Absolutely. And my formula for FigPro, for our company, the first guiding principle in our company is my personal guiding principle, which is give, give, grow. So you definitely give, but there's a process to the giving where you give and grow. You don't give, go broke, right? Because and I've been there too, where I will give all of my time, all of my energy, all of my intellectual property, all of my everything, would pour it out until I was so empty. But Lisa Nichols makes a good point. I've heard her speak, and she's incredible. And she talks about giving from your overflow, which is really important. It's easier to give, and it's a better way to give when you're giving from the overflow of everything, because now you can give out of abundance to create more abundance, versus giving in such a sacrificial way that you're somewhat resentful. And you may not be resentful towards the specific person you just gave to. You may not be resentful to the community you just gave to, but now you're resentful to the process and the time, and you're not giving in your fullness. If you're like, well, this is great that I just got invited to these 5, healthcare fair opportunities, to use your example, and these 3 speaking engagements, and I have to fly here, travel here, car here, train here, and do all these things. But now that means I'm not making money, because as you mentioned, as 100% time invested entrepreneur, all entrepreneurs who are serious about their business are 100% in it emotionally, but this is 100% of your time. When you're 100% invested in your time, you could spend 30 minutes somewhere or an hour somewhere, and if it's not making sense to the community you're serving in that moment, for it to be a place where you can seed and know that water will be flown on that area and it will grow out some other place, you are literally losing dollars every second. And those dollars are coming out of your 3-year-old's mouth, coming off of your husband's plate with his big piece of chicken that the husbands deserve to have, and out of those right, out of those little vacations that you enjoy to take as a family, or those moments you have. And now it's literally seeding toxicity would be the better way to say it, seeding toxicity into your life. And here you were thinking you were planting good seed, and it wasn't. That was a lesson that I had to learn too. So I thank you for sharing that and being open about it, Kristin, because that really is helpful for a lot of people who are dealing with this thought process of being busy is the same equivalent of being productive, when it's not, and that giving is equated equally with growing, when it's not. It has to be a formula for it and make sense. So I know for me, I have a rule about speaking for free. My personal rule, it's worked for me. It took me a long time to figure out this formula, but I will speak for free if it's a part of the philanthropic arm of what I do, which is typically anything to do with, relationship or something around rare disease or connective tissue or autoimmune or something like that. Those are places that I would definitely speak for free because it's part of my heart function. And again, I only do it once per quarter. I seed my time once per quarter. So if I get 10 invitations to something that's all a part of my heart function, I'm only picking one. And I'm picking the one that makes sense for my time. So I may want to go to JJSD and give them my time because it's a part of it, but HCS may make better sense for my time because of what HCS is requesting of me and how I can help in the most impactful way, because I only do it once a quarter. There's almost no exception to that unless it's ministry, which is totally something separate. And then if it is for free and it has nothing to do with my heart function and it's kind of aligned with my business, with going out and speaking to corporations that are really trying to strengthen their leadership and empower the women in leadership and do different things that are specifically aligned with what we do from a company perspective, designing tools for advisors and communication and all that stuff, then it has to make sense in terms of who's in the room. Are the people in the room that I'll be in front of, are they potential prospective clients, strategic partners, as in referral partners or resource partners, people that we can grow with on some level? Or are they direct influencers to the people that I do need to get next to from a business perspective? And aside from that, I have to be able to make up my expenses some kind of way by being able to have a call to action, whether the call to action is to join my 10X Focus community, which is online, and it's the greatest way to engage with me so I can share the next level of what's happening in the Thigpen world, or if I can sell a book, the Careerpreneur Kickstarter or something like that, or a ticket to a Permission to Pause event. Like, it has to make sense from that level. But if you don't fall into one of those 3 areas with my heart function, some aspect of ministry, or it's a event that makes sense from a strategic business perspective, you get put in the list of call me next year. If you're really interested in what Naketa Thigpen has to say from ThigPro, call me next year and maybe you'll fall into next quarter's availability, because I'm not only a busy woman, I'm a productive woman because I'm a mogul in the making. And I'm glad that you set that straight for all who are listening, that if this is what you aspire to do, whether as a professional, a career professional who's doing great things and growing in that profession, or as an entrepreneur, you have to create some boundaries and say no so you can say a great yes. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. And too, what I also had to do is I had to explain to people, to some degree, why I wasn't able to participate in their event. So because for years I have been doing all the health fairs that came out. I was doing free screenings, free high blood pressure screenings, and free diabetes screenings, and I was doing all these things for free, not getting paid, helping people calling doctor's offices and doing all the follow-up, and that takes so much time. And that was all free. Because if I see a high number, I'm not just going to say, okay, it's high, provide counseling there. It's important for me as a healthcare provider to contact that patient's primary care doctor and tell them what's going on so that they can call the patient to the office and they can fix it. And that all took time. And so over the last couple of months, since I decided to stop doing that, I've been having to tell people, no, I can't come to the event this year. I'm sorry, I've changed my focus. And so people are like, no, I'm going to miss you. But I have to do it for me because people first, and my husband want to make sure that I'm bringing money in the house. So I can't keep doing stuff for free. So it was a tough decision because I love community events, but I'm a businesswoman, and I have to just have that hat on and be strong and confident and walk in that.
Absolutely. And you are walking in that. So I want to talk about the Power 5 ways you renew yourself as a businesswoman who's walking in all that. How do you release negative energy when it comes your way, which could be personal or professional, depending on what's happening? Because I know we walk into networking rooms and it's all kind of energy at times. So it may be a part of that part of your world, or it may be a part of the personal part of your world. What do you do to release negative energy?
I am a very optimistic person by nature, so I don't really receive a lot of negative energy. I think my husband always asks me, how would you feel if this happened to you? And I'm like, I wouldn't care because I just don't care. So I don't even receive it in the first place, so I don't really even need to release it that much. But if I had to think about a couple of things that may have happened over the last couple of weeks that just kind of did irk me some, I can explain that. So I was driving, and I must have done something, or something happened, and the guy stuck his middle finger up at me, and that really made me upset because I wouldn't do that to anybody. And so I just asked God to just help calm my nerves. Just prayer helps, and just time. But it's not much that really irritates me. There are certain people that annoy me, and I just try to limit my exposure and my interaction with those people. But it's not too many. I'm just a real optimistic person. I try to see the best in everything, in every situation, and so not too many things cause me stress.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You're not open to receiving it, so you're kind of bouncing it off the way a trampoline would bounce something off.
Bounce with me.
Bouncing, whoop whoop, bouncing on the balance beam. When Cardine sees this, he's going to scream because I just did that, and it was the corniest thing in the world for me to do. But he knows that I'm not ashamed at all to bounce with it. Exactly. So what do you do to refuel? You're busy, you're moving, you're shaking, you're parenting a really I don't know what to call Bria. She's so intelligent and she's very verbose. She's beyond her years for a 3-year-old. So you're dealing with a lot. How do you refuel when you just feel a little bit close to E?
Yeah. So I don't work on Sundays. So that's the day that I go to church, and I'll cook for the week because I don't cook during the week because I just don't have time to cook during the week. So an awesome coach told me about cooking once or twice a week. I've gotten it down to once a week. Now, if they don't eat the food, that's on them. But the food, it ain't my fault you don't want it after 6 days. That's not my fault. You deal with that. So I just don't work on Sundays. I just don't open my computer. I don't do anything. I don't care if I have a deadline. I just won't do it. I just commit to having that one day to not have to work. Now, is work on my mind? It's on my mind all day Sunday. I think about work all day Sunday, and I hope that I get better, but I just won't act on anything. Like, I won't check my email. I won't check, my project management system. I won't do anything work related. And so what I've learned that does is it gets me really excited about Monday. Like, I cannot wait to get up on Monday and check what I missed on Sunday, start getting my tasks done, start knocking out some work, start, responding to emails. So it builds up a lot of anxiety for Monday, but I just won't work on Sunday. And so I think that kind of helps with refueling. The other thing that I try to do is I try to schedule some time for me and my husband to just get away at least once a quarter. And it may just be staying overnight in Philly, or it could just be having someone to keep our daughter over the weekend, just to give us some time to spend with each other and me not thinking about my work. So, like, I'm not taking my computer with me. I'm trying to keep my phone down as much as possible, and just really focusing on him and on us.
I love that. I love that. No, so you kind of answered, which was part of the next part of the 5 is how do you rest, but you've answered, Sunday is a day of rest for you. It's also kind of like your movie trailer anticipation hype day for what's coming next on Monday. But it sounds like it's your physical rest too. But what about when you need to refocus, when you just feel like you feel really scattered? Yeah.
I just take a walk. Like, I'll just take a walk. I was in a very stressful environment. A few months ago, I had a big meeting with a huge company, and I was late because I'm such a procrastinator. So a part of the reason I was late was because I was going to catch the train, but I didn't look at the train schedule on time. And so, like, I missed the train, and I had to drive, and it was all this traffic, and I was super late to this meeting, and I was so nervous. I called them. They said, it's all good, Kristin, don't worry about it. We'll see you when you get here. But I still felt so stressed about being late to this major company. So I went and I got through the meeting, but I was still stressed the whole meeting. Then after the meeting, I drove back. It was about a 30-minute drive. The nerves were still shot, and I just had to take a walk. I was like, I'm not even going back into the office. I'm going to park, and then I'm going to take a walk and just let this energy just get out of my body. And so that's what I'll do in stressful times. If I need to refocus, I'll just try to take a walk and clear my mind. Meditation helps some, but I don't do it enough. And so I haven't gotten to the place where I could just not have anything else on my mind. But if there's an opportunity where I can't walk, then I'll just try to sit in a quiet place and meditate.
No, that makes sense. And I think we definitely share a lot in alignment with the different ways that we have to bring ourselves back to focus. Sometimes you're able to walk based on where you are. Sometimes you're in the middle of a meeting and feeling a little unfocused and have to, do a quick, 60-second meditation, deep breathing. Let's, give ourselves, my power word is victorious. I will be victorious. I am victorious. I am going to conquer. I am conquering. I may say that to myself, and it's not about conquering the meeting or the people or anything. It's just me and getting control of my anxiety, my emotions, my excitement sometimes can get out of control and make me unfocused. So that's a good tip, especially the example you use with just, even if other people were giving you a pass to be, late or behind, they trusted in the value of what they already knew about what you could bring to the table, but you knew you had to recenter yourself. And that was good that you took that extra, 2-3 minutes, whatever it was, to just really align yourself. So I'm assuming that meeting went really well.
It did go well. So they're so cool and laid back, but I was like 25 minutes late. It was ridiculous. It was was really ridiculous. And it was traffic everywhere I turned. I could not escape it. And like my heart was racing. I was sweating. It was so bad. And it just carried over through the meeting and afterwards. But I mean, I still was able to present well, but like on the inside, I was like going crazy. So I had to take like a 10 to 15 minute walk. Like it was a long walk. I just had to get that energy out of me so I can get back in the office and refocus.
No, I totally get that, and that makes a lot of sense. So what about reconnecting? So I know with your man, you take these quarterly breaks to reconnect with him, and I know you take a lot of time with your daughter to, you know, play with her and teach her and do all kinds of things to make sure you're building that ongoing everyday connection with her. But how are you reconnecting with yourself when you feel like you're giving to everyone else, including your husband and your daughter, your grandmom, your family, you know, every aspect of you, your mom, all of that? What do you do to just reconnect with Kristin?
I think that's an area that I had not done for years. Like I hadn't done it for a very long time because I was just so focused on the business and neglecting my family until my husband told me about it. So, you know, I was just like, focus. But this year in January, because I hadn't even caught up with my friends. Like, I don't even talk on the phone to my friends anymore. I just don't have time to do it. Like, when I get home from work, I'm tired. And I'm tired, but I still have to spend time with Bria. I still got to take care of her. Thank God I don't have to cook. I just got to heat the food up. But I'm tired. So it's like, I don't even get a chance to really talk to anybody. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on in the lives of my friends. Like, my close friends and family. Like, that's just real ignorant. So I decided to get us together once a month. So the last Friday of the month is when I just hang out with my girlfriends, like my cousins that I'm close to, and we just do different things. So I coordinate. We have gone to like a paint and sip kind of place, which was really fun last month. We've done just a dinner night. We're doing the trampoline park next week. So just some different things for us just to kind of get together. Oh, we did karaoke, which was really fun. Just different things. Like once a month, I don't have to worry about work or family. It's just me hanging out with my girls, and we just having a good time. So it's another assignment for me to do. I think I'm gonna get a co-chair or something to help with the planning and like the organizing. But it's fun because I know that I'm keeping in contact with my friends and my close family. So it's all good. It's all good. And so that's one thing that I do for me. I try to get a massage every now and then, but that usually happens when my husband and I are doing our staycation or our couple weekend or something like that. But other than that, I'm still working on trying to do stuff for me. So.
You know I'm laughing at you because even the stuff for you is still sharing with other people, but that's a whole separate
progress. But thanks for reminding me that I need to do stuff for me.
Because you thought that was for you, but it really wasn't for you. That's a whole separate conversation. We will talk about it though, especially because I was not invited to the trampoline park, and I do have beef.
You go to Bible study on Friday night.
That's true, but that's not the point. I still want to be invited. I want to be able to turn you down and give you a no.
That is so funny. I'll send your invitation out today.
Thank you, and then I'll tell you no. Because my priority is Bible study, but give me the opportunity to say no. Thank you. So how can people stay connected with you if they want to follow up, because they will want to follow up and find out about this awesome conference in October and get to know Kristin more from a professional level? Where do they go to get more information about Dr. Kristin Ball Motley?
Oh, sure. So I'm on LinkedIn under Kristin Ball Motley. I'm on Facebook too, but I must say I don't really accept people on Facebook unless I know them. So I have like maybe 1,000 pending requests just because I don't know. I'm a little funny about that, but you know, I'm on Facebook, so at least try to send me a message and tell me where you know me from or something so I can accept you. I'm not on Twitter, but the company's on Twitter. We are HCSDV, so like Healthcare Solutions of Delaware Valley. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, HCSDV as well. We have a LinkedIn page, Healthcare Solutions of Delaware Valley. I wish my social media person was here so I can think of anything else. I think that's about it. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I was just thinking, so my other hat is on, beyond podcaster moments, the business strategy planning hat is on. For Facebook, a recommendation that I do that I'll share with you is when business relationship people who may be awesome people are trying to contact you at their favorite place to play, like Facebook, which is your personal place to engage with family and friends. There's no harm in having one of your interns who's dedicated to your social media or your PR or your brand ambassador, whatever they do, and I know you have several, have them write up a template response that is, thank you for reaching out. I really appreciate and value the opportunity to connect. Please connect with me on LinkedIn because that's where my professional relationships begin. Really simple.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't accept everybody on LinkedIn either.
Right, and you shouldn't, and you can also add a caveat and please notate where you've met me from because I value my online relationships as much as I value my offline relationships. So you're kind of you're filtering that out for them, and then if you have the intern create that. And I say intern because they're constantly trying to figure out new ways to professionalize themselves. That was a Naketa-ism. I just made that word up. But they're looking for more ways to do that. They can create that, and you may or may not give them access to, send it out as a message because, you can reply without accepting on Facebook as well. You can have them do it, or you could just do it, and send it a little bit at a time. But I would recommend that you have them send all of that out and just kind of clear it out.
That's a good idea.
You're cute. Yeah, definitely.
That's why you are the best.
Say it again, honey. Say it again.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So I'm definitely gonna have her do that.
That's awesome. So what about a favorite place to visit? You and your husband do a lot of staycations and some other things that you do quarterly. What's a place you would recommend as we end Balance Beam for people to know where to go if they just need a break from their home?
Well, we have traveled to Paris 3 times, so we love Paris. So if you just want to get away, book a trip to Paris. That's like our favorite city. But locally in the Philadelphia area or even in the U.S., we like San Francisco. D.C. is awesome. It is like so such a great place, such great shops and food and free stuff, which is always my favorite. There's a lot of stuff to do in D.C. But coming back to the Philadelphia area, we live near Wilmington, so there's a lot of I like small restaurants that have like 2 pages on their menu, not more than 2, because you're not going to be the best at everything. But if you have like 3 entrees and 8 appetizers and a couple desserts, I know that you're going to bang those out. So I like small restaurants like that. So any kind of small restaurant in Wilmington, a couple. Corner Bistro is a nice one that we love going to. Eclipse Bistro is down in Wilmington as well. A couple places in Philly. I like breakfast food. I'm like a pancakes and French toast kind of person. But now I only eat one, so I can order a short stack, or I try to just get one as opposed to getting like a full stack and then like some eggs with some meat and grits and potatoes. I don't eat like that anymore. I have transformed my life for the better for myself because our number one risk factor, our number one health risk for people who live in America is heart disease. For everyone who lives in America, men and women, our number one health risk is heart disease. And heart disease is preventable, but we have to do something to prevent it, which means eating better, as well as incorporate some kind of physical activity into our lives, and just being more aware of the foods and what we're doing. So I have arrived, and I only eat like 1 or 2 pancakes at a time, or 1 or 2 pieces of French toast. But I love breakfast food, so any place I can go to for brunch or for breakfast. Honey's is one of our top spots. We recently found, because of another amazing person, or she could be the same person, a place called Cafe Le Mode, I think it's called. It's right near Honey's on 4th Street, which is awesome. My husband said it was the best food he ever had in his life when he went. And he eats a lot. So that was really, really, really good. So, we just try to explore different places and eat fresh, eat whole foods, and not be as greedy as we used to be.
And occasionally fly to Paris, apparently.
Fly to Paris and get it from the motherland.
I love that. Kristin, you have been a breath of fresh air. I thank you for your openness, your honesty, your peek into the realities of maintaining a really important relationship, your marriage, your first priority under God with your family and everything that you do. I thank you for sharing some of the ways that worked for you and the ones that didn't work for you any longer as you had to become more flexible as a mogul in the making going forward. I'm just so grateful that you were on the balance beam, helping us all to steady our lives in the different elements that we have. You are incredible. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad for the opportunity to share my experiences, and I hope that someone learned something and could take, at least one thing home that I said today.
And let it not be the thing about going to Paris. Let it be something else, because that should just be something you aspire to do.
Oh my God.
You're awesome. Thank you. Kristin, you stay right there because we have some after beam stuff to discuss. Balance Beamers, thank you again for tuning in. We want to bounce on the beam. That's right. And stay tuned for more tools to infuse. Welcome back to another empowerment moment brought to you. I want to have a serious moment with you right now. I've been dealing with this a lot with coaching clients and above who are really struggling with their flaws. They feel like they make them less than their industry peers, their professional peers, or even their family and friends that they may hold in high esteem. So similar to some of the things we talked about before with not competing or not comparing with anyone but yourself, I want you to look at your flaws as a blessing. You can fix some of them. If you are a heavier weight or a smaller weight than you would like to be, and there's no metabolic or hormonal reason for that, you're able to fix that with changing your diet and exercise regimens, and maybe getting a health and wellness coach or hiring someone to hold you accountable for the milestone changes that you need to make. Correct? There's also flaws that you can fold in to the reality of the beauty of you. For instance, I used to think that my beauty mark on my face, I have several of them, but this particular one was a flaw. It made me stand out. Babies would look at me funny and say, "What is that, mommy?" I would get all kinds of looks from people and places and things, especially from being a little person with such a big beauty mark on my face, and then growing into it where my face pretty much fits the mold now, but it had to kind of grow into that place. I had to come to a place where I loved all of me. So what used to be considered a flaw, and may still be considered a flaw by some, is folded into the beauty of me. It's all a part of who I am, and it separates me from other light-skinned, short, curly-haired people who may otherwise look really similar to me. There's no other Naketa Thigpen, and there's no other Naketa Thigpen, I can't even say my own name, you see that? With a beauty mark positioned exactly where it is. So it is folded into who I am, so I no longer have to fear it. I encourage you to fix or fold in your flaws, but do not fear them. Another empowerment moment just for you.